Welcome into Kalahari Convention Center and Resort. So glad you could join us for OHSDA drone racing. It's finals day right here on BCSN. Of course, BCSN brought to you by our good friends at Dewey Furniture and Carpet. CJ Perry alongside Matt Earhart. And Matt, we've got 8 schools from Northern Ohio competing here, and this is the culmination of a racing season that went from not a lot of experience to now we've got plenty of experienced drone pilots, so this should be a good, fun, interesting day.
Oh, absolutely. And we're excited. We've got Edison here, we have Huron, we have St. Mary's, we've got Willard, Oregon Clay, Perkins, Ehovie, and Sandusky. We're very excited to have these teams here. They've been competing throughout the year. They've been practicing really hard, so we're going to see what they can do.
Just from an organizational standpoint, what does it take to get from the very first couple weeks of the season to here? It's May 5th. We're ready to go. We're at Kalahari, so this is a big venue. So a lot of things have changed over the past couple weeks.
Oh, absolutely. These teams are working through problem solving, break fix. You know, my drone doesn't work. How can I fix it? And so they've learned how to do those things. They've made modifications, and some of these drones are going to be absolutely amazing today.
And of course, you have a stake in this from Ehovie, North Point Educational Services, Buckeye Broadband. So the great people that it also takes to get something like this on the road going, not only monetarily, but the support. You know, you got everybody involved in this from a sponsor standpoint, students, coaches, the whole deal.
Right. It's a community effort, right? We've all worked together on this. We've problem solved through this, and we've gone to some experts like Safety Third and Buckeye FPV. These guys do this for a living and do an amazing job, and they have mentored us and our students to be able to do this today.
All right, it should be a good one. Really looking forward to this one. 8 schools racing. Who's going to be the drone champion at the end of the day? And it's all coming up next right here on BCSN. And we are back here at Kalahari Resort and Convention Center. CJ Perry alongside Matt Earhart. So glad you could join us. OHSDA drone racing finals day here, Matt. So happy to be here. We've got 8 schools getting ready to compete. We've got JRG from Willard, a.k.a. Justin Gilmore. Andrew, 7335, a.k.a. Andrew Crawford. We got Giant from Sandusky, Tyler Downing, who we've seen race quite a few times. And Meme King from St. Mary's, Isaac Aldridge. And we're getting ready to go.
Should be a good race.
And the drones are off. Of course, it's the time trial portion of the events, so it's more about how you fare and get through the first part of the day as opposed to necessarily competing with other drones. So you want the best time that you can get, help out your team for this competition. Just absolutely smoking through that flag.
Yeah, who is that?
I believe that is Giant.
Wow.
And of course, we've seen him race. He was one of the stars at Huron High School and Sandusky. They've got a very experienced, very good program.
Absolutely.
And so we know that they have their stuff together, as they say in the business. But the key is if you can put together 3 good laps, getting the time trials. Of course, we've got the relay portion later, the competition portion. So that's what these racers are going for right now.
Looks like Ehovie's drone's got some technical issues. They're down.
Yeah, and you're going to see the spotters run out there. Each team will have spotters along with their pilots. And so, you know, I know in other competitions that's not really allowed, but right now as the kids are getting their feet wet, it's more about teamwork and getting those spotters out there, fixing the drones, and then they get back in the air quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think without having these spotters with these drones, it would be a long day for these kids.
And very smooth through the gates. Now that some of the kids are picking up on the course, I think this is a different course design than what they've been used to here, so you see a little bit better action coming through. You see some spotters still working.
The Giant finish? Looks like Giant
I believe
finished.
so, and so that's a good 3 laps. We'll have those times when we come back. You can see St. Mary's out there working, and that's the key. You get out there, you run, you get your drone back. See Willard's out there. We'll see if they can continue on. Because I know after a while, if the drone is dead, then they do have to give the thumbs down, and kind of just for the sake of keeping things going, you know, you want to be able to keep the day running smoothly.
Absolutely.
And around that back flag there, and this course is definitely a bigger layout than I think we've seen at some of the high schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, just getting checked here. Will Nickley from Safety Third Racing has been helping us out through the course of the season, so glad to see Will here. All the guys from Safety Third, and of course, as we say, Buckeye Broadband helping out, eHovie, your organization, North Point Educational Services. So a lot of sponsors going into. So just from a sponsor standpoint, Matt, how has that gone from the first into now that we're into May?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know what, our Mavericks, Eddie Hovey, the Mavericks First Robotics team, took an interest in the drone racing, and they contributed $6,000 towards the entry for every team to get into this, and paid for equipment to seat everything. But luckily for the Mavericks Robotics team, they're sponsored by NASA Plumbrook Station.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty good connection to have,
absolutely.
right?
So,
with the
so
drone
NASA in the background is supporting us, and so they think this is something that's going to benefit kids in STEM education.
And what have you seen school-wise, reaction-wise, that from, let's say, the first couple weeks to here we are now in May?
Right. Well, obviously, this is all new, uncharted territory. And so for people to do this, it might have been a little frustrating, but they can get they're making things making it better now for everyone as they go through the process and they figure things out. But when you first do something, sometimes it's a little frustrating.
Right.
But you know, failing is okay. It's okay to fail, and then from that you have success. And so kids have been able to learn to do that.
Awesome. I think Willard's the last drone out there trying to complete their time trial. We'll have those times when we come back, and as the 8 schools working through their time trials get towards the competition. So it's important to learn, but the kids are also out there to compete as well. All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. Plenty more drone racing action yet to come right here on BCSN. It's time trial session number 2 at Kalahari. CJ Perry alongside Matt Earhart. We've got Big Mitch, a.k.a. Mitchell Carnahan from Willard. We've got the Jester from eHovie. That's Keegan Momney. Short round from Sandusky, Braden Layson. And Chambers, 50-15. That's Max Chamberlain from St. Mary's. Time from the first round. Matt, no surprise that Tyler Downing, a.k.a. Giant, 65 seconds, led the group. Isaac Aldridge, 2:12. The Andrew Crawford from eHovie did not finish, and the Willard team, they struggled a little bit, 3 minutes and 25 seconds, but
right.
It gives you a good idea, I think, too, of the drone pilots and the teams that are certainly more experienced. I think no surprise that Giant, and then we see the other Sandusky. That's Andrew. I want to thank him. He's the guy that brought me the laptop today. Andrew from Sandusky.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Props to Andrew Gerald.
Yeah.
And that's Sandusky's drone, the white one in the middle, as he's kind of pumping through this time trial.
Right.
And that's why these time trials are taking a little bit longer, I think, because first of all, you're getting used to the course, because a lot of these kids have not raced here before. You've got the bigger venue, I think, so there's some nerves always involved with that.
absolutely.
And also, this floor is carpeted.
It is.
You know, so they're used to racing and skating along on on hardwood floors of gyms. So I think that's also something to take into consideration.
Right. So, which is really interesting. St. Mary's last week made some modifications because they knew there was going to be carpeting here. So they put skates on some of their drones, and they shared that out with some of the other teams. And you know what? Part of that collaboration is an important part of this drone racing league.
Yeah, no, I was on the email list. I saw that. And I was, that's pretty innovative, putting little shoes on there, little skates, because the carpeted floor definitely behaves differently than the hardwood. And trying to get around that flag here, and that's proving difficult there. That last corner flag seems to throw some of these drone pilots off. And speaking of drones, we're getting the drone's eye view from the VR goggles. So this is what the pilots are actually wearing. They wear the VR goggles, and you get to see, you can see this drone skating along on the carpet, and that's right at floor levels. I'm sure you might see a spotter's hand come out pretty soon and help fix that drone. Yeah, you can see right there. So that's actually what the drone pilot sees as they pilot these. And I know one of the things, the coaches almost prefer to have the kids wear the goggles. I know some of them the first couple weeks were not, but I think a lot of the coaches prefer that.
Right, absolutely. I can tell you our STEM kids that are on this team sit in their classroom and when class is not changing, are practicing flying their drones up and down the hallway sitting in the classroom.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, exactly. So they're a wall away and they can see it through the goggles. Speaking of coaches, let's thank this round of coaches here from Hobie, that's Tony Limberios, from Willard, Scott Graybeal, from Sandusky, Brad Agee, and the kid said his nickname is Spock. I don't know if he would agree with that. And from St. Mary's, John May. John's been a great help too. All these guys, I mean, they're very accessible. Anytime you need to interview them or ask them questions about the team, I mean, they're more than helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Brad, I mean, if you look out here at the gates that the kids are flying through, those were designed and made by the students and Brad at Sandusky, and we've been using those at the past couple races.
And Brad's the one who sent Andrew out to get the laptop. Ask and ye shall receive, so everyone's super helpful today, and just waiting for these last couple drones to finish, and we'll have those times when we come back. Of course, there's a time trial session here, and then that'll lead up to the lunch break. We'll have some eliminations after that, and then I know there's going to be some team relays today, which is different.
Yeah, something totally different. So these guys are going to have to go out and help take apart the drone, put them back together, and then get ready to fly them.
All right, we're going to step aside, take a break. Got plenty more drone racing time trial action coming up here from Kalahari. It's the start of time trial session number 3. Dragoon 23 from Willard, that's Eric Diaz. Tryhard from Hobie, that's Caden James. Smasher from Sandusky, and it looks like that is Caden James from Hobie off to the good, Caden Vargas off to the good start, Matt.
Yeah.
In spot number 2, looks like Dragoon 23 from Willard had a bit of a rough going, but he is absolutely hauling right now.
He is. Now this when they're up in the air like this, it's fun to watch.
Oh, and Vargas hits the gate around the corner.
Oh, he's down.
And so any time that he made off of that start, ends up tough way. And then we see Hobie's team sprints out there, the spotter. And
he's back up and flying. That's good.
So let's take a second look at this as Vargas just smacked into that gate. And that'll stop all momentum from a drone.
Oh, absolutely.
And then it'll pretty much go. You're familiar, I'm sure, with Caden. So what's his experience and level of drone pilot?
I'd say, he's the young man that sits in the classroom and flies the drones up and down the hallway. And I tell you, by being able to do that, that's why he's doing what he's doing right now.
And I believe we had one of the drones pulled a plug early on this.
Yep.
I think that was that Smasher from Sandusky, possibly. So I see Willard is still out there. I know Ehovy's still out there, so that's tough. Times from the last round, you had Big Mitchell Carnahan at 1:32 winning the round. Keegan Momini from Ehovy did not finish. Braden Layson from Sandusky, a.k.a. short round, finished at 1:35. And Max Chambers 50-15 from St. Mary's, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, so a bit rough for them, but at least they finished.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
the key
good
is
thing
get the job done.
Yeah, the good thing about this, though, we're going to see these times drop throughout the day, and these kids are just going to get better, you know.
Yeah, it's always amazing when they see the course for the first time. It's a little shaky, and then as the day progresses, how much better they get. You can see working on the drones still at the corner there. We've got 2 drones out there that want to keep going. That's Willard. And
St. Mary's.
And St. Mary's is still out there.
Yep. Looks like Willard's back up, flying.
Yeah, St. Mary's may have to call it.
Yep.
So there is Willard. That is Dragoon 23, Eric Diaz trying to get a good time. So I believe if Sandusky did not finish, that would leave, I think, Ehoby Caden Vargas won the round. So let's see his time after the commercial break and how well he did. So overall, the Ehoby program, did it just start strictly for this, or was there interest in drone racing before this drone racing came into being this year?
No, there was definitely interest for our STEM program and our maker, our Fab Lab, and so yeah, we've been looking at different drone technologies. And, you know, through that, we met Safety Third and Will Nickley, and, you know, what the product they are putting out there for schools and for hobbyists is a great product. And so that's why we partnered with them.
So there's Willard's drone, piloted by Dragoon 23, Eric Diaz, and his spotter. He's putting in a lot of miles, and that's something you see. These kids, they hustle. These spotters get into it, and they run the length of the floor, just trying to get their drones back up because you've got the debris that collects on the rotors. The rotors kind of get snapped off into place. They got to fix those, and you can see that back up and running again. So trying for that third place finish, I believe. And for them, it doesn't, you know, I know the time trial is important, but I think getting through the race is also important for the kids.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the more they do this, the more confidence they build, and that dexterity that they're working on using the goggles. You know, the more they do it, the better they're going to get at it.
All right, so there's the finish of the time trial number 3. We're going to step aside and take a break. We'll have the times for you when we come back. It's OHSDA drone racing right here on BCSN. And we are back. It's time trial number 4. It's Pilot 1 from Ehoby, Dylan Henry, Metalhead from Sandusky, Matthew Valeba, and Bull Force 4.
All right, we got all 3 up.
And no surprise at Sandusky, Matt, with the early lead, and then tumbles to the ground. And I believe that's Bull Force 4 and Pilot 1 from Ehoby in a little bit of a dogfight right now.
Yeah.
Taking the high ground and the low ground, and someone just hit the gate. And I believe that is, so that's St. Mary's running out there. So in the lead would be Pilot 1 from Ehoby. So another strong showing from Ehoby until they hit that gate. So look, those gates are tricky. You get that altitude going, and you hit that gate, and it can, you know, it proves fatal sometimes.
Yeah, it does. And I tell you what, one thing that may be playing a factor today is the fact that the AC unit, or you know, some of that wind.
If it's blowing it directly down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right. See, The spotter from Ehovie working on that drone, and they were in the lead. We'll give you some times while we got a second here. Dragoon 23 from the last round, 3 minutes and 31 seconds from Willard. From Ehovie, Try Hard, that's Caden Vargas, won the round with 1 minute 21 seconds. Smasher did not finish, and also Far Cry 525 did not finish. So last round was a little bit rough. You see, that's a familiar face. That spotter, he was hustling at Huron. Across the way over the guy that's on our camera right now. He was absolutely hustling. And I see Ehovie spotter also working on this.
Yeah, looks like we got some part issues out there.
It's a bit of a. I see something on the ground too, so something might have actually come off a drone already. It's hard to talk. It's hard to tell, but yeah, it looks like maybe a rotor fell off. So I tell you what, we are going to step aside. We'll take a quick break and see if we can't resume this here. Been watching OHSDA drone racing right here on BCSN. And we're back here. St. Mary's has their drone back in action. Man, Ehovie having all kinds of struggles right now, as does Sandusky. So it's sometimes trials are worse than others. You know, it's just technically. But I said St. Mary's seems to be hustling pretty well here.
They're doing great. And I tell you what, from the first time we called one of these races to today, you know, most of these drones are up in the air. We're not seeing too many skaters today.
Right.
I think some of our biggest issues are equipment. You know, they're hitting gates and they're losing props and different things like that are taking them out. But other than that, I mean, some of the flying's pretty good so far.
And speaking of equipment, these are all 3D printed, because one of the things you want to do is keep the parity as far as this level of racing goes. I know a lot of these kids have their own drones or they fab their own drones, but these are 3D printed, whether at the school or here. I know it's on site.
Right.
Safety Third Racing brings a 3D printer. So that's why all the drones are the same size, have the same components, and that's important, I think, just to keep the parity going.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the STEM that they're getting out of this, you know, the research and being able to test different types of material that they can print for their drones, because we found out that the different types of material make a difference in the durability. So it's been really interesting to hear these kids talk about those types of things.
St. Mary's still having their struggles. They get it to fly for a good 10-15 seconds, and then it dies in the corner. And I think they're just going to call it a day here. We've got one more drone out there. That's Sandusky's drone. See if they can't get that going again. That's Metalhead, a.k.a. Matthew Valeba. You can see and they're working on it. That's right next to Sandusky's pit. And so you can see the camera as the spotter, or I'm sorry, St. Mary's, their pit. And that's what they were working on, trying to get their drone going again. And
we got somebody up in the air.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who this is. Whoa, look
Buzzing
out.
the tower.
Whoa.
I don't know if that was a pratfall. He'll have to save some face.
Yeah.
I believe it's from Sandusky, I believe, one of their veteran pilots. Oh, and then clipping the flag. That's why that drone just took a hit.
It did.
So you got all kinds of obstacles. You got human obstacles, you got flags, you got gates. You got to navigate a lot around here.
You do.
There's Sandusky's drone getting set to go again. I think St. Mary's, I think they called it, so I think Sandusky's the last one out there.
What's going to be interesting throughout the rest of the day is that this course is going to expand in the afternoon. It's going to get much larger.
Yeah, they're going to add a straightaway, so that's going to be interesting in the middle to have a straightaway go.
So
as opposed to just kind of a figure-8 configuration.
Did you see that? Did you see that drop? I don't know if that was from the HVAC hitting the micro drone, or if they lost a prop or something.
It almost looked instant, though. You're right. It got up into the airstream and then it pushed it back down. So that is one of the struggles here. You see, that's a good shot of Sandusky's spotter working hard, trying to clear those rotors out. So the times may not be good, but they are getting valuable experience out there. As we take a second look at this. This is the drone's eye view. You hit around the flag, and right into a tailspin.
Yeah.
There's some wicked airstream at work there.
Something,
those tailwinds.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, as we move throughout the day, I mean, right now they're letting these kids just practice.
Right.
And so once we get through this round, and if they get to like over 90 seconds, they're going to shut it down, and they're going to keep moving today. So.
All right, we're going to step aside, take a break. More time trial action yet to come from Kalahari. You're watching OHSDA drone racing right here on BCSN. And we are back here. It's finals day for the OHSDA drone racing. CJ Perry alongside Matt Earhart. This round, you've got Perkins, Huron, and Clay. It's Skyfall, a.k.a. Ian Hempel, probably one of our best racers in this league. You've got O2 Racing, that's Tony Pendergrass, and Biohazard for Clay, that's Nathan Lambrecht.
Yep.
Ian Hempel, very impressive, Matt. Certainly at Huron High School, we really enjoyed watching him race. He and Giant had that awesome finish towards the end of the day. And then even a grudge match afterwards, even when the competition was truly done, they kept racing.
Oh, yeah, he's absolutely incredible. I mean, he has to be the hands-down favorite for today, but you never know. You absolutely never know. You could have equipment issues or, obviously some HVAC issues, as we've seen.
Yeah. All right, so from the last round, Pilot 1 did not finish. Metalhead from Sandusky also did not finish. And at 4:25 was Bull Force 4. As St. Mary's, they worked hard, and that's the credit to them. Even if it took 4.5 minutes, they went out there. That spotter was out there constantly fiddling with that drone to get it to work.
Right,
so
yeah, they battled through that, absolutely.
Hats off to them. Of course, Perkins coached by Griffin Christie Hempel, so I know that's Ian's dad, and I know they work a lot in the garage. They fab their own drones. They go down to Cincinnati, they go to Cleveland, so he is no novice when it comes to drone racing in the least.
Right. Other interesting thing today, I mean, we've got Brian Willis here from NASA, who's one of the educational outreach leads for this region, and the Harriet Flyers. Some of the Harriet Flyers fly out at NASA Plumbrook Station, and some of them are here today to watch these kids, and pretty exciting stuff. We've got an older generation mentoring a younger generation.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of the coaches also have aviation experience. I know Brad Agee, he's a pilot, and I know some of the other coaches have aviation experience, so it was kind of a natural fit for these coaches to mentor these students and to be part of this program.
Absolutely.
So I think we are ready to go here and see. Let's get flying with Skyfall. Taking the early lead as expected, O2 Racing and Biohazard. Biohazard skating along the ground, I believe. So we'll see if Skyfall and Ian Hempel can do what he did just a couple weeks ago at Huron.
There he goes.
And avoiding the tailwinds and then hitting that gate. See how quickly they can get that drone back up and
back
flying.
Up in the air. Here he goes.
So as far as current leaders go, oh wow, and the spotters,
the spotters
have to avoid the drones.
They've got to pay attention.
Wow.
They got to know what's going on out there.
I know that's Lucius Daggett. He's out there hustling. And that's the thing too. It's cool. I get to know some of these kids. I go over there, talk to them before the event's going, and it's you see all the personalities. Who's kind of the leaders, the pilots,
right?
Who are the techies? It's fun. It's fun to watch some of these teams and how they operate.
Well, Hemphill is just flying through this course right now.
I tell you what. If there's a drone course to navigate, I'm sure Skyfall and Ian can get it done.
Oh, absolutely. I mean.
Very smooth.
And
notice how that last gate, Matt, because that's the one that gave him trouble the first time, and he just absolutely cruised right through that gate.
Well, that was a wide turn out there.
And coming right back to the middle
Oh,
and
yeah,
setting her down.
Yeah, set her down.
Excellent run.
That was a great run.
So we still have 2 drones out there. We've got Tony Pendergrass from Huron, O2 Racing, and Biohazard still out there. So let's take a second look at this here. The crash initially, and then you've got the human obstacles, Matt, that you have to worry about going through those spotters. So as we take a second look at this here from Kalahari, it's an excellent look back at how these pilots can navigate this.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's really interesting is that, you know what, obviously Ian has been flying for a couple years now, and where he has come.
I was just going to say, and there's the going between the spotters. Like you said, the spotters have to be aware of what's going on. There's drones out there.
Yeah, but you know what, just practice.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we're going to step aside and take a break, see how this all finishes out. We'll have the times for you when we come back, and there is a drone's eye view as we step away here at Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. It's OHSDA Drone Racing Finals Day right here on BCSN. And we are back, and you see the pilots getting some troubleshooting help from Will Nickley of Safety Third Racing. And I want to thank Will. Cannot thank him enough and what Safety Third has done. Certainly Frank Costello. I know Chris Kling as well. Those guys setting up this program, basically kind of showing us how it's done, and also helping out the drones immensely. The last race we were at Huron, he had a table where the kids, even if they weren't racing that day, they could come in and they could bring their stuff to be fixed.
Looks like we're off.
We got Lightning Fast from Perkins, Brian Sapatka, Red Leader from Huron, that's Jacek Kraus, and Mr. Inferno from Clay, Lucius Doggett. And who's rolling off there first, man? I believe that was Lightning Fast from Perkins.
I believe you're right.
Perkins knows, not surprisingly, one of the better drone programs we have in the OHSDA in this area. Able to navigate around, and this has been the tricky gate.
Oh, he made it.
And wow, Lightning Fast makes it right through that gate. Oh, and the spotter just barely doing the old suck in, and getting out of the way.
Yeah.
And that is a very good drone's eye view as you see Perkins and Lightning Fast, Brian Sapatka cruising through these gates.
Oh, he's doing a great job.
Oh, he's going to be contending for fast time for the day, right? Let's take a second look at the near collision with the spotter and Perkins' drone here, just coming back here from the drone's eye view. And just in time. Oh, he felt some wind on that hoodie.
Holy cow.
Just able to get out of the way. So right now you've got Giant at 65 seconds. You have got, I believe, Ian Hempel with 71 seconds in second spot in short round with 135, although I think right now Lightning Fast will be challenging for the top spot. And just going around those flags so smoothly, too. I mean, I think that's such a skill that they pick up, because it's not just through the gates. You really have to navigate those flags, get around. So it's kind of the total package, Matt, as far as piloting one of these things around a course.
Oh, it is. It is. It's a lot of time and effort to do what they're doing right now.
And
I don't know if he purposely landed that on the table.
I don't know. I think so. Right? That's the clay pit. So doing a little pit pause back there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, someone's going to have to pick that drone up and put it back out there. Very interesting.
That was interesting.
But excellent run for Lightning Fast and Brian Sapatka. Perkins just getting it done. Maybe missed a pit by a table or two. So right now out there you've got Red Leader from Huron, Jacek Kraus, and Mr. Inferno from Clay, Lucius Doggett. Lucius doing a good job as a spotter as well. And I think that's a lot of these smaller teams, Matt. they have to do double duty.
Oh, they do.
A team like Sandusky can probably have enough people to do maybe only one job per day. But I know Clay has to do spotter duty for themselves. I know some of these smaller teams have to as well. So,
right.
So you got to hustle. You got to know how to fix them, get them back up and running, and pilot them as well.
Yeah. The Oregon team got ready to take off, flipped again, and the spotter's coming back out, I think, for a second time here.
They're having a rough time here trying to get these off going. And sometimes you see that you'll see one drone that will have a very excellent run, and then you'll see maybe a team or two struggle and just trying to get around. And that happens here.
Yeah, it does.
That's somebody upside down. That is, I believe, that is Huron trying to get theirs rolling, and someone's going off the beaten path. That's Clay. Clay way over in the corner there. I think they're heading for the water park. They heard they got a slide over there that they want to try out.
Something.
So Mr. Inferno gets it back up, and they are just having
I don't know if they're having camera. He might be doing line of sight right now.
He is.
I think he's struggling.
He's not wearing the VR goggles.
So that's much more difficult. Believe it or not, it's much more difficult to fly these things without their goggles.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you're almost reversed. Because you're looking at the drone.
Right.
So you need to have that mindset of left is right, right is left kind of thing here, as opposed to just having the VR goggles. And there's a good shot of the pilots, and that's where they've been sitting all day up on that stage. And none of them are wearing the VR goggles unless the other kids have just taken up.
I think everybody's just about done, and so we're kind of waiting for Oregon to skate through here. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I tell you what, let's step aside. We will take a break. They'll finish this up, and we have more time trial action yet to come right here from Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. It's Drone Racing Championship Day on BCSN. And we are back as the time trials continue here. It's OHSDA Drone Racing Finals Day. You've got Legend FPV from Perkins, Ratatouille from Edison, Easy Dub from Huron, and the Green Baroness from Clay. That's Brianna Rass taking care of business here for the Clay squad. And with me, I've got a special guest. It's Jake Schlottig from EHOVI. So Jake, so far, time trials and just this day overall, what are your impressions of the event?
It's going really well. It's pretty neat to see how well the kids have progressed throughout the year. Some of the kids are even getting rid of their the propeller guards, making the copters lighter so they can go faster. So it's pretty cool to see their progression.
And this is a different setup. You're going to have the expanded course. You've got the carpet. So there's a lot of things to consider here from the drone teams, from the coaches, as far as going into the finals day. So there might have been a little bit of nerves and a little bit of, okay, this is going to be a little bit different than some of the races earlier in the season, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. The carpet seems like it's playing a huge factor, whereas before we've been on the gym floor, we can ski real quick on there. Some of the teams came up with a ski for the bottom of the propellers, so they getting going pretty well. I've heard from EHOVI's team that the skis weigh them down a lot, though, so if you're going to put the skis on, you almost have to ski.
Gotcha, as opposed to being able to fly full bore.
Yeah.
Let's go look at the Perkins drone here as Lucius Doggett hustles off the floor. Perkins, he was flying all right for a second, and then he hit that gate on the far side. And I see Brian Zapaka having to fly out there again. Perkins, one of the better schools. Perkins, Sandusky, EHOVI, you can see the experience level just tremendously. You know, some of those pilots really know their way around the drones and know their way around these courses.
Yeah, I know Giant, he's been flying since he was 7 or 8 years old.
Ian Hempel from Perkins. I know he certainly is one of the better pilots, and I think Perkins overall, they really have a good feel for how this goes. And of course, as soon as I say that, the drone hits the floor.
Right.
You get the snake bite. But looks like Lightning, or let's Legend FPV from Perkins, Michael Schur, he might be leading this time trial. Get it through the flag here and see if he can't get a good time off of this.
Yeah, and it's neat to see the different levels of competition and how well the kids are getting along together. Right. They're all very competitive, but it seems like they're all just having a good time.
And you've got middle school, junior high kids mixed in with high school kids, so it's been an interesting kind of journey in that regards. When I go into the pits in the morning, just kind of the different vibes you get from the teams that are heavy with junior high kids or the teams that are mostly high school kids. So that's always interesting to see that kind of mix too.
Definitely.
Perkins hitting that gate again. Boy, this is probably the most crashes that a Perkins squad has had. You see the spotter, Brian Spotka, getting that back and rolling again. Right now, Giant from Sandusky at 65 seconds. He is currently in the lead as far as time trials go, and then the Perkins racer, Skyfall FPV, that's Ian Hempel in 1:11, and I believe after that, Lightning Fast from Perkins in 1:25, so starting to rip off some pretty fast times as we head towards our lunch break. I think we have one more time trial before we take our break, and then after that, some time trials, and then back into the competition phase of things. And we'll see if Lucius here can get his drone back up. I believe we have one more still to go. If he can't get that up, we might have to call this time trial. So tell you what, we will step aside and take a break as they are struggling to get that drone flying, but plenty more drone racing action yet to come. Don't go anywhere. You're watching BCSN.
Living in this crazy world, so caught up in the confusion, nothing is making sense. For me and you, we've got to give a little love, have a little hope, make this world a little better. Try a little more, harder than before, let's show them we can.
And we are back here at Kalahari. So glad you could join us here for the OHSDA Drone Racing Finals. CJ Perry alongside guest commentator Jake Schlottig. We've got Me Malicious, that's a.k.a. Deacon Eversman from Huron, and the Green Giant, Emilio Rendon from Clay. And we have a mystery racer as well. Someone snuck in this last time trial, Jake, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it looks like a propeller just...
Let's see if we can't get the school. Of course, he's probably not wearing a hoodie that would indicate the school, but anyway, this is the last time trial before we head to the break, and then onto that, you start to get into the competition section of the day, and then we'll have something new, the team relay. So that's going to be interesting to watch how these pilots and how these spotters will work together as a team to get a relay race.
Yeah, I heard about the relay race, and I was like, man, that sounds interesting. I'd like to see it in action.
Right, we'll have to see it in practice to see how it goes, because I'm interested in seeing that too. So we'll get a good look at that. Right now, looks like most of the pilots are having some trouble. I don't know if it's kind of skipping along the ground here. You see both Me Malicious and the Green Giant struggling as well as our third racer. And there are a few of these that they've had some rough days, but I think the thing is, and something that Matt and I have talked about, is just powering through, because you are going to have some rough races, you're going to have some rough times, so that's a good look at a spotter right now working on it, because these quadcopters, they pick up debris, and of course things become bent on these drones, so you're fixing them on the fly, so I think that is a good skill. You have to go out there and get it done quickly.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that our kids at Ehovie have said is doing the blow check on the propellers to make sure they're spinning, because if you blow on the propeller and they don't spin, then you know there's something caught in there.
Yeah. And to the 3D printing, that's something that's really come on. I was at Huron, and Will had 2 3D printers working. So not only if the school's equipped with one, sometimes if you come to these meets, they have the 3D printers here too. So if you need bodies, if you need components, that's really come into play here with this technology.
I haven't seen too many of the bodies breaking, but more of the battery mounts and the camera mounts. And from what I've heard, some schools are printing the camera mounts in a different material, so they're not melting when they're heating up. So it seems like that's been helping out as well.
That's good. So now you see the thumbs up from the spotter here. We get Me Malicious and Green Giant back rolling again. They are struggling, and there's a good shot. There's Me Malicious over there, very actively trying to get his spotter, getting that drone back in, and he's choosing to go line of sight as opposed to wearing the VR goggles.
He's been doing that, hasn't he, all year?
I think you are correct on that, and that's so Huron's drone struggling as well as Clay's drone. Green Giant there, both just trying to flip these over and get them rolling again. Even our third drone, which has entered the fray, also skipping along the ground. Have not been able to get through the gates very well, so they're trying to get that to where you can actually fly through the gates as opposed to skipping along underneath them. So what's been, from your standpoint, if you've been here since the beginning, Jake, what's been the biggest change from week one, say now that we're here in this final race?
Going from skiing to actually having the drones in the air the whole time. There's been a lot of improvement overall. Working at the school is nice too because I'm walking up and down the halls, and
so you're seeing it first.
Yeah, so I'm watching them fly the drones, in the classrooms, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, Matt was telling me how they'll sit in one room, fly the drones through the hallway, wearing the VR goggles. So they get that sense and get that experience.
Yeah, and the first time they get the hang of flying without skiing and being able to fly it down the hallway, bring it all the way back to them, and have it land right on the table in front of them.
Right.
They think that's the coolest thing.
So there's a shot of the Huron spotter trying to get to me malicious, get his drone going. Sounds like we have 2 laps complete, so we're trying to get this 3rd lap going here. And trying to challenge some of these top spots right now. Giant at 65 seconds. He went out early, set that time, and of course Perkins, Ian Hempel, Skyfall tried not to be outdone, just 6 seconds behind Giant. And those are the 2 guys, I think, through the course of the season. They have been the standard bearers, and they have been the guys to beat. But it's nice to see some of these other times coming down from some of these other schools.
Yeah, I know Tryhard from Ehovie, he's been very competitive with them as well, but he hit the flag on his time trial, and I think he posted a pretty decent time for even.
He was second for a while, 81 seconds, so he was just behind Giant early in the day.
That's even with hitting the flag.
Right.
So
and I think
he's very competitive.
And that's something, too, is recovery. I think your drone is going to hit a gate. Something's going to happen. But I think, how do you recover from that? I think that's, in any sport, any racing, I think that's key.
It's just like in golf, you got to have a short memory, because if you're going to get frustrated if you crash once, you're just going to keep crashing.
Let's see if we can't get these drones going. If not, I think we are going to call this race. Nope, we got still flying. Well, I tell you what, we are going to step aside and take a break as these guys are having a bit of a struggle here. So we will see what happens on the other side. We've got more drone racing yet to come from Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. It's OHSDA Finals Day right here on BCSN. And we are back here at Kalahari. So glad you could join us. It's the final day of racing here for the OHSDA drone racing. We've got Andrew 7335 from Ehovie, Giant from Sandusky, and the Meme King, Isaac Aldridge from St. Mary's. In some trouble right off the bat. I do believe that Tyler Downing, a.k.a. Giant, out to the good start, as he is just absolutely, he knows his way around this course. With me is Lonnie Rivera from North Point Educational Services. Lonnie, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
And so, first of all, your impressions of the event today. I mean, we went from the first week now to this final race, so kind of what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, it's fun to see the evolution of the competition. This is really difficult to do. I would challenge anybody to put on a headset and try to control these drones, it takes a lot of skill and effort. And I was talking to one of the fathers of some of our better competitors, and many of these kids have been doing this for several years now. And so that's something to keep in mind for our young competitors that are just starting out, that this is not an instant thing. It's not like you can pick up, like in band, a trumpet or any musical instrument and instantly be able to play. It takes a lot of time and effort. And beyond that, the magic that's happening with the pit crews. These folks have to have a crew that knows what they're doing.
Speaking of pit crews, nice segue here. There's been a lot of activity back there, and that's kind of the connection. As I've been talking to a lot of the coaches and a lot of the students, they connected with their aviation program. So obviously that's important, is the educational component and how you're going to work this into schools and how schools are going to do this in the future.
Yeah, and what was really interesting, again, I always put a shout out to Matt from EHOVI. But it was his idea to say, let's start this league.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, okay, well, not just the flying. If the flying could be a way for us to introduce, science and math and other emerging fields for kids.
Yeah.
And this adds a level of relevance that I think is missing in a number of our buildings in our schools. You open up the textbook and you're learning, rather than now. You're learning from hands-on experience with these drones. There's so many different applications, math and science lessons that are included. So what we've done for North Point is we've contracted with some of our best teachers in the region, and when we conclude for next week, we're going to have them help us design some curriculum that all of our schools can have access to help enrich the experience back at their schools.
All right, good stuff, and we'll talk a lot more about that. We're going to step aside and take a break. Plenty more drone racing action, though, yet to come right here on BCSN.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
And we are back for round 2 of this edition of Time Trials. It's the Jester from EHOVI, Keegan Momini, short round from Sandusky, Braden Layson, and Chambers 501. That's Max Chamberlain from St. Mary's. And we've got a spotter out there diving around. I believe that's from Sandusky. So we'll have to see who's taking the early lead in this race. I do believe that's Jester from EHOVI, doing quite well.
Looks like we're about to have an overtaking. Hey, look at that.
And nice little move there around the flag. So Lonnie, one of the things that I think a big component of this is the ability of printing out the drone bodies and the components. I've been talking to Matt about that throughout the day, even Jake Schlotty from EHOVI, just about the fact that the schools have the 3D printers. Also, Will Nickley and Safety Third Racing will sometimes bring some to print out parts. So I think that's a big key here, is the speed to which you can fix these drones or get new parts printed in that whole kind of aspect.
Well, a cool side story to this is that in most of our courses we have smooth gymnasium floors. This one, as you can notice, is carpet. And so a modification that had to be made early on is that if you're going to use a sliding method to fly your drone, they had to quickly design and print out these little sled attachments to the bottom.
All right.
So, and that's exactly what that enables us to do. But that was done last night, and they were printed out here today.
And that's the drone from St. Mary's skidding along the carpet, and they finally got that right. I see Short Round was having a pretty good run there, but then he fell off the map. I've been seeing that a little bit, to where you have a good run for a little bit, and then 20 seconds later. So I don't know if that's due to the battery life. I know sometimes that's a little bit short here, but just trying to get some good runs. Get some good, consistent runs. That last round, no surprise that Sandusky's Tyler Downing, a.k.a. Giant, won that race. Now he set the bar at 64 seconds for 3 laps, so that's cruising pretty fast around this setup. And certainly Sandusky, Lonnie, has been one of the programs that's kind of been at the forefront here. Sandusky, Perkins, EHOVI has been dramatically improved, but I think those two programs are sort of at the top, setting the bar.
Absolutely. And, talking to some of their instructors, this is an extension of some of the programming they already have in their high schools. So it's a lot of the robotics programs.
Yeah.
These are kids involved in many of those same programs.
And I know Brad, he has a pilot's background himself, I believe, in aviation, so I think this fits right into his wheelhouse to coach for Sandusky.
Yeah, and they're trying to expand their program in there as well. He was just telling me that this morning. So
there's a spotter working on Jester's drone, see if Keegan Momney can get flying again. This round's a little bit quicker. They're not going to let it lag as much as the last set of time trials. And there you go. So Jester having a good run. I see St. Mary's. I think they're going to call it a day. So we are going to step aside and take a break. We've got lots more drone action yet to come right here on BCSN. Don't go anywhere. And we are back for another round of time trials here. CJ Perry alongside Lonnie Rivera from North Point Educational Services stepping in. And Lonnie, so we've got this round. We've got Try Hard, Smasher, Far Cry 525, and Bull Force. Or I'm sorry, Dragoon 23 is in there for Willard. So we'll see what this round can do here. Right now, Giant from Sandusky is the trendsetter. And right out of the gate, that is Smasher from Sandusky, and he is absolutely flying. Around the back flag, Smasher going to hit that gate pretty soon. He's got some competition, but Smasher, though, on the backstretch, this might be the best run I've seen all day. If he can keep it in the air and not hit a gate. See, I jinxed him. I knew that would happen. Nice recovery, though. If he can get going again, goes through the gate to the middle. And I think that's something that you see a lot more is the recovery time. From the first week, a lot of times when the kids would hit a gate, that would almost be it. You know, it spelled doom for their drone. But it seems now, here we are at the finals, you can hit a gate, recover nicely, and so I think the skill level has gone up considerably.
Absolutely, and again, until you put on a set of goggles and realize how disorienting it can be, it takes an awful lot of skill and know-how to be able to hit something and then know where you are and then get back up and go in the correct direction.
And some spotters out there for St. Mary's trying to get off the course, but Sandusky's Smasher handling things very well at this point. Right now, just over a minute is our time to beat, 64 seconds. And I think that's... So that is going to be the final lap here, and absolutely cruising and done. And the skilled ones can take it right back to the pits.
That's definitely some cool points added right there.
And I think before the first couple weeks, we'd see them kind of skid to a stop at the gate.
Yes.
Now they just flying right back to the pits.
Yeah, and some of them are actually holding their hands out, and it's landing right on their palm of their hand. So a little bit of show-off points there.
So St. Mary's, they're still out there trying to get their drones flying. Good hustle. See if they can't finish out the race. They're putting a time limit on this one because I think to make the afternoon go a little bit faster, Will Nickley says 60 seconds. That way, if the drones are down for more than 60 seconds, that's going to be it. Whereas before, I think they let the kids practice and just kind of let it fly.
And as I was mentioning earlier, you know, we are so ahead of the curve as far as being one of the first to be out here doing this, as we are. We are making constant adjustments to try to make this more enjoyable and a better event.
So Far Cry 525 out there. Still having some trouble with the drones out there. We got one flying still. I believe that's Willard's drone. And of course, hits the ground as soon as I say that. So they're going to call it here. So they did hit the 60-second time. We're going to step aside, take a break. But good job by Sandusky. They seem to be in the driver's seat today at Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. race. And we are back and ready to go here for another race. It's Pilot 1 from Ehovie, Metalhead from Sandusky, and Bull Force 4 from St. Mary's. I want to correct myself. It was Tryhard from Ehovie who won the last round, 69 seconds, so just 5 seconds off from Giant of Sandusky, his time. I believe that is Pilot 1 from Ehovie, currently in the lead, doing battle with Metalhead from Sandusky. St. Mary's drone, though, doing very well. This is a very competitive race so far, Lonnie, and I don't know if that drone can find its way around there you go. It's coming towards us as opposed to staying on the course. To see Pilot 1, his spotter, coming over. So he lost the lead to Metalhead from Sandusky. So now they're trying to get their drone back in action.
Yeah, that was a tremendous start.
And it's amazing how quickly it turns. You know, you get that good start, but you got to stay consistent. I think sometimes if they get too high, they get a little bit off their course, and then you see problems start.
Yeah, the controls are real touchy as well. So as you throttle up and down, the response is you have to be very, very, very good and skilled.
Now Ehovie also having to go out there. Sandusky getting their drone back running again. So Metalhead back in the lead. And then here's Bull Force 4 from St. Mary's after a little help from his spotter. And that one's going to hit the gate again. So Metalhead currently in control. Yeah, almost skipping under the gate. And I know they prefer them to go through, but I think this year the race officials have said it's okay to go underneath as the pilots are getting their feet wet.
Absolutely. And as the competition levels go up.
I think Sandusky just lost a propeller or something.
Just
yeah.
flew off there.
Oh, now he's going to be looking for it. It's back by the gate. So now I believe.
We have abundances of propellers, so I'm sure he's going to run back.
Right, go find one and put it back together. So Ehovie now back in control. It's funny how quickly they can turn. As you see, that is the spotter looking at the drone, and now he sets it back out there after getting one of those propellers and gets this thing rolling again. St. Mary is having a little bit of problems out there. Bull Force trying to get their drone going. Just can't get past that gate. So Ehovie right now. And as soon as you say that drone drops off and hits the floor. So their spotter's got to run out there and get it going again. But I think right now they're still in control of this race. The times might not be good, but they could still get the victory.
Yeah, and you're noticing, again, they're spending much more time in the air as compared to our earlier sessions where they're skating.
Right, there's been a huge improvement, there's no doubt. Okay, now we're flying smooth again. That is the view from Pilot 1 and Ehovie through the gate. Nice move. And then falling again. The spotter's probably gassed. I don't think he signed up for all this running. And I think you see Sandusky's drone trying to complete the course. St. Mary's, they're still back there on the backstretch having a little bit of problems. Ehovie and Pilot 1, the standard bearer here. So they win the race. Sandusky comes in second, and St. Mary's are going to come in third. So you see St. Mary's, they still want to fly, though. I admire that, because even if they're having their problems, they stay out there, they try to get the problems fixed.
Absolutely.
And so this might be it, though. I know there's a 60-second time limit on these right now.
All right, a quick battery swap from our pit crew.
So I tell you what, we are going to step aside and take a break as this race finishes up. We've got more time trials yet to come right here from Kalahari. Don't go anywhere.
All right, battery out.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
Time trials continue here at Kalahari, and no surprise, Skyfall FPV Perkins, from Perkins, that's Ian Hempel. He got off to the quick start. He was one of our stars at Huron High School and certainly has been one of the guys that to beat today. 71 seconds was his previous best time, and I think Lonnie, if he keeps this up, he may beat 71 seconds, and he may challenge Giant for the current lead.
Yes, and Ian's father, we had a conversation earlier this morning, just said how long his son's been involved in this, and he actually flies some of the bigger drones that go in excess of 100 miles, and those are, of course, outdoor drones.
Yeah, I know Ian goes down to Cincinnati and Columbus, so some of the larger drone meets, and his dad Griff and Christy very involved. And he showed me some of the drones they fabbed in the garage and some nice pieces of equipment.
Absolutely.
You know, he's certainly on the right track. Spinning around that flag there. He is still in control of Skyfall FPV. I had the chance to interview both Ian and Tyler Downing from Sandusky the last time we were at Huron, and both those kids are very well spoken, have their good heads on their shoulders, and you can kind of see why they're the leaders of the program. Although having some trouble over there now. Got some other drones kind of falling off the map. But Skyfall, yeah, Skyfall, I think he just nailed close to 60 is what I'm hearing, so he may be in the running once we get that final time, because he absolutely cruised around that course.
Yeah, and the key is not hitting the gate, and again, even with their fast recoveries, that does make a big difference.
See some of the other schools out there still out there racing. O2 Racing, it's Tony Pendergast from Huron, and Biohazard, Nathan Lambrecht from Clay. Clay spotter goes out there and gets it going. You want to try to name some of these coaches here for Huron. Coach Leah Lacrosse, she's out here today. From Edison, John T. Williamson. I love talking to that guy. He's very enthusiastic about the program. From Willard, Scott Graybill. From Perkins, Griffith Christie Hempel. From EHOBE, Coach Tony Limberios. And from St. Mary's, John May. He's always great to talk to. And Sandusky, Brad Agee. Fantastic guy. He actually helped us out with the laptop today.
Absolutely.
He had one of his students go run home and get it, so I want to thank him as well. And from Clay, let's see their coach. If I can find it, it's Melanie Nyland. So, big hand to all the coaches today. They take their time out of their days, they take their time out of their weekends to do these meets. So
yeah, and you mentioned two of the teachers, Brad from Sandusky and Leah Lacrosse. Those are two individuals that are going to help us with writing our curriculum for the middle schools and high school, and they are very respected in their fields as leading experts in technology.
All right, nice job, pilots.
got a few troubles down. We'll see if Will decides to call this one.
So we're expecting to see lightning fast,
So that's going to do it here. We're going to step aside. We got plenty more drone racing yet to come from Kalahari. You're watching it all right here on BCSN. And we are back as our time trials continue. It's Lightning Fast from Perkins, Lightning Bolt from Edison, Red Leader from Huron, and Mr. Inferno himself, Lucius Dodgett from Clay. And with me is David Stockdale from Buckeye FPV. And David, so first of all, there are many applications for drone flying, first of all. I know you're involved in the fire department, and now how now fire departments are using drones to not only get to the scene, but other aspects of firefighting.
Absolutely. We have multiple fire departments. One of the biggest fire departments that we have uses their drone for, one, checking out a scene and getting a better view. They also use it for after. For instance, after a fire, the inspectors are using it to fly over and make sure the house is safe and things like that. So they're just getting that extra view from above and around that they can't see from the ground.
And so what are your impressions now of these young pilots? Because you see someone like Lightning Fast from Perkins. Perkins has a fantastic drone program. 60 seconds for our last racer from Perkins, Ian Hempel.
It's just unbelievable how much these guys are improving. I've only been involved in 3 races so far, and just from the first one to this one, the first one you had almost every pilot skidding across the carpet. Now you got guys just flying through the gates like it's second nature.
Right. And you see these kids, high school, junior high. Obviously, I didn't hear of a drone until a few years ago, and you as well.
Nobody did.
Right, and you get into it a little bit later. But these kids, it's like second nature for a lot of them. So it's
the biggest thing for the kids that I notice is they're coming from the gaming world.
Yeah.
And the gaming world now into more of a true reality thing. They're just picking right up on it. In fact, some of the racers in the big leagues came from the gaming world, and the kids are just taking us adults away.
Going right from there. Obviously, that is Clay's drone skidding along the floor right now. That leaves the Green Baroness as the spotter. And that's another thing, too, I think this teaches a lot, is the teamwork aspect. I don't think you can kind of underestimate that, especially with the smaller teams.
Yes.
If you only have 3 or 4 pilots, everyone has to do kind of everything.
Everything. They're all learning so many skills from piloting to being the eyes outside to repairs and building. Those skills just are awesome. If I had this in high school, believe me.
Right. And you're from a club down near Columbus, one of the biggest flying clubs around, and you got hooked up with Safety Third and kind of got hooked up with Hovey and North Point to put this together.
Yeah. Buckeye FPV. We are a local Central Ohio multi-GP chapter. We hold probably 8 to 10 races a year, but we work with everybody throughout Ohio. And we hooked up with Will and Safety Third, and we've just been helping him out on multiple events.
All right, appreciate you stopping by. There was the upside-down drone view. Sometimes that happens as the drones get flipped over. We're going to step aside, take a break. Plenty more drone racing action yet to come right here on BCSN. And we are back here, Lightning Fast from Perkins, Lightning Bolt from Edison, Red Leader from Huron, and Mr. Inferno from Clay. And off to the good start, it is Lightning Fast from Perkins. Also want to highlight Skyfall. So we were talking the last race, he did hit 60 seconds, so that is the new standard bearer. Skyfall FPV, Ian Hempel, just ripping through this course. Back with me, Lonnie Rivera. And Lonnie, so far, day's going pretty well. And now this afternoon session, I think once we got through those first time trials, everything's kind of clicking along nicely here.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, we're making adjustments to make sure that the action keeps moving, and so that 60-second rule has really helped speed things along. So we're not waiting, forever to fix a machine if it breaks.
There's Brian Sapaka from Perkins, who is the spotter for Lightning Fast. See, he trying to get him back rolling again. There is Mr. Inferno, Lucius Dodges for Clay, dodging the drone action. Pretty much everyone's out there right now. I see Edison's spotter out there too. So this one has been a pretty rough race to get started. Perkins looked good early on, and now they seem to be having some trouble as well. One of the things too, you kind of see them start to wander off the course. So you want the kids and the pilots to stay back.
Yeah, and
stay back within the confines of the track.
And I really think the ventilation system here is playing something.
That's been mentioned. You get up in the jet stream, and you just see them just flatten them out and push these drones back down to earth. Especially back down towards our end. I think there must be a vent that's pumping them out, because around that back flag, I've seen about 5 of these drones just get squashed. That is lightning fast, I believe, from Perkins, as they are one of the teams that lead the way out here and have been doing the last couple weeks. And a racer from Perkins, no doubt, is that Ian Hempel is setting the standard at 60 seconds, and the rest of his teammates kind of follow in. So right now, who we got in the air? So Clay is having trouble on the ground. I think Perkins, they've finished up, and I think we are waiting on one last drone here to complete those 3 laps. And there is a 60-second time limit, so if the drones are not operational and back flying within 60 seconds, they are calling the race. So I think to speed things up. Oh, so Perkins is still flying. And hitting that lap, and there you go. So there's their last lap. So Clay is still working. So they're still working their butts off here. I see Huron over there as well. And I think Lightning Bolt, I don't know if they've already called it a day or not. So I tell you what, we are going to step aside, take a break. They're going to finish this race up. We've got lots more drone racing action yet to come right here on BCSN. So we are back, getting ready to go. It's Me Malicious from Huron in the first starting position, and Green Giant from Clay. And the Green Giant off to the better start. So Green Giant hits that first gate running. Gonna go around that flag and then on to the backstretch. And with me is Brian Willis from NASA. And Brian, so your interest in drones as it applies to kind of your life and any kind of professional career, or is it more just kind of helping out the kids and the educational portion of it?
Yeah, this has to do with STEM education and trying to build that workforce of the future. You know, those students who have a passion for science and these types of things. It's important to foster that, and this drone league is certainly one way to foster it. It can potentially reach into a different group of students and of kids.
And I think, and if you get them at this age, I think you get them ready, and because their brains are hardwired for a lot of this. I think from the gaming world, a lot of it comes over, and I think if you can harness it, I mean, does that kind of help them focus that energy and that attention as they go on to college and the professional world?
You know, I guess in one way it's hard for me to say that, not being from this generation,
True,
right?
Yeah.
But you're right. Their brains, I think, are more predisposed to what it takes to do a first-person viewing drone.
Yeah. Like say when you got started and got into it, what piqued your interest as opposed to say what the kids, how I'm sure it's a lot different as of how their interest gets piqued in, I guess, in aviation or engineering and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for me, I just always liked airplanes.
Yeah.
And I flew what's called control line aircraft, a little 04, I call it an 049 or 1/2A control, where you basically you control the airplane. It's on 2 strings, and it goes around you in a circle. And it might sound boring, but it's actually it's a lot of fun. But it has a tactile feedback element that this doesn't have.
Yeah.
The plane's pulling on your arm.
Right.
And then, and if things go bad, it's chasing you. But this, like you said, I think this is the wave of the future, whether it's in hobby or just there's a whole new segment of users in the national airspace. And I think in 20 years you won't be able to look up in the sky without seeing a drone go by. Now, how autonomous those drones actually become, I don't know. But there's certainly a big career vector there. If you think about doing inspections on bridges, buildings, roofs, high voltage lines.
I know even underground. I know like plumbing and sewer line. I know that's even becoming more popular. So it's not just the sky. I mean, they'll use drones in a lot of even ground-bound and underground applications.
Yeah, we've used pipe crawlers at NASA Plumbrook Station, definitely. But there's going to be underwater drones. I mean, they're going to be everywhere. And it's it's going to take a tremendous amount of human capital to set up those types of operations. Think about all the airspace issues. If you've got 1,000 drones from Amazon coming into Columbus at one time, how do you make sure they don't hit one another? So a whole nother element that would be really interesting to pursue, if you like this element, is something called biomimicry. If you see, most of us have seen a flock of 1,000 starlings get up off the ground, and not one of them runs into each other. How does that happen?
Right. So nature can do it.
So there's a communication system of some sort between all those birds, and they don't bash into one another.
Right.
They all come in to land in a tree, and they land where they want to land, and they don't run into each other.
Right.
So those flocking behaviors can be studied, but it takes a higher level talent. That hardcore mathematician, controls person, to actually design the algorithm.
Right.
To put into the controls.
So it's not just like here you see the one pilot, the one spot. You've got layers, so you're going to have programmers, you're going to have pilots, you're going to have administrators, obviously, who have to keep all these things on the board. So that's very interesting
just like for civil aviation, just like for the modern day, airlines, right? But somebody's got to figure that whole airspace out, and it's not going to be me. It's not going to be my generation. It's going to be this generation. So they're going to have some really interesting challenges. I think you're going to have that same spectrum of talent. I think exists today as it did before.
Yeah, just kind of a different
in my generation. Just it's going to be applied. You're right. It's a different application, a different set of constraints, but the same raw talent. And it's important to give these kids a clue that it's there. Otherwise, they won't go looking for it, right?
All right. Well, thanks for the perspective. Really appreciate that. We're going to step aside, take a break. Plenty more action yet to come from Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. OHSDA Drone Championship Day, and with me is the coach for Sandusky, Brad Agee. Brad, so first of all, Sandusky, one of the standard bearers as far as the drone programs go. You and Perkins seem to have the experienced pilots and also seem to be able to just kind of navigate these courses the most well. So what do you attribute that to?
Well, the pilots are definitely interested in the drone racing. I think our pilots at Sandusky have a slight edge because they're in the aviation program and they have a little bit more aerodynamic knowledge and experience, and they're learning a lot from these other pilots and they're sharing that information. We have a lot of support from the Sandusky City Schools and the Career Center, so that certainly helps with our resources that we have available.
And as far as aviation's background, I know you have one as well, so I'm sure that interested you and to get involved in this program.
Absolutely. I'm a pilot. I have about 2,000 hours and just enjoy flying. I certainly enjoyed the opportunity to have an aviation program and teach the students at the high school, and they're taking that to heart and using what they know on the course here today.
And so how are you with the drone? I mean, I'm sure it's a lot different than flying a physical plane.
It is a lot different, yeah. I can fly the drones pretty well. I have commercial grade drones that I use for photography.
Yeah.
But when I put the goggles on, that's where they have absolute priority and the edge over anything that I've learned flying. So they certainly have that down.
We had Brian Willis here from a NASA engineer, and I know their involvement with this program. So for you, you see kind of these career applications are coming up. That's something that Brian and I talked about was, and I think there's not just one or two things. It's not just, oh, I'm going to be a drone pilot. There are all kinds of applications. So is that something these kids are thinking about while they're having fun and flying?
They are, certainly. They're all members of the Civil Air Patrol, which is Air Force Auxiliary, and they are incorporating drones into their program. So hopefully that'll bring that to our squadron and be a part of it that way too. Some of them want to advance on to a higher level of drone racing and just improve their piloting that way. Others want to apply it in the service and fly the remote piloted aircraft.
And so now as far as you, though, from week one to here we are now, what's been your experience as far as this kind of program's gone this season? Because it's got to be fun. You see, even the middle school, some of these schools are strictly made up of middle school kids. I know you have a lot of high school kids, so that's got to be just an interesting journey from where we started to now here we are May 5th at Kalahari.
Yeah, recalling how fast it's come and what we did on day one by just putting together a little drone and flying that around. And then when you get a fleet of them, they all seem to act a little bit different in their own way and perform a little different. And just finding out how to troubleshoot what makes it do certain things helps them learn and helps me learn how to better coach them and get them to be smooth flyers.
Yeah, I'm sure the teamwork aspect has been something that's kind of coming. Because I like seeing that. Like even beforehand, I'll see who takes what role. Because if you get a team of 10 or 12 people, you have the personalities and that kind of thing. So that's kind of fun to see the different roles that everyone takes.
Yes, it is fun. And today's certainly a good day to bring the whole team together. We have one of the bigger teams. So we actually have 7 pilots here, and they're all going to get to fly today.
Yeah.
We'll be doing, we have the 4 that are flying the course right now. And we're going to have 3 more jump in for this relay. And that's going to be
that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. The relay flying is going to be interesting.
That'll be great.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and good luck the rest of the day.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. There's Brad Agee from Sandusky. We're going to step aside, take a break. Plenty more yet to come. Watching BCSN. And we are back. It's elimination time here at Kalahari, and there is Skyfall FPV from Perkins High School off to his customary good start. And the track remains the same, and it really doesn't matter as Skyfall looking to get into that 60-second range again, Matt. Just as he set that record earlier in the day. We also have Dragoon 23, Jester from Ehovie, and Mean King from St. Mary's. But it is indeed Skyfall FPV and buzzing one of the spotters, getting back to the middle, and he may put a lap. He may have put a lap down on some of these.
Oh, I think he did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun watching Ian pilot a drone. I will say that much.
It is. Look at him.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
I'll tell you though, giving a run for the money, that drone I believe is Jester from Ehovie, even though technically Perkins is ahead, but Jester doing a pretty good job piloting that drone around. Oh, and that's your pit steward Chris Kling getting knocked around.
Yeah, holy cow.
So that may affect. And there is the 60-second limit.
Oh,
if you can't get your drone rolling again.
He broke the drone.
Oh, broke off our pit steward. That's tough. That's a tough. That's a tough way to end your race. A second look. And I think that was that Ehovie's drone that got knocked?
It may have been.
Yeah. And we are just finishing up here. No, because there is Ehovie's drone right there. That's Chester still rolling. See St. Mary's working on theirs, but hats off to, as always, Skyfall FPV and Ian Hempel and the Perkins squad. Now it's just kind of bragging rights. And looks like Jester finished up his race. St. Mary's going to finish up there. Nope, they're still working on their drone. So that would leave Dragoon 23 from Willard. All right, so there we go. There is the first elimination race. We are going to step aside, take a break. Perkins setting the standard as always. We will be back with more drone racing right here on BCSN. And we are back. We've got Giant from Sandusky, Metalhead from Sandusky, Legend FPV from Perkins, and Short Round from Sandusky. Skyfall won that last race at 64 seconds. So I think, is that Giant? Fellas?
Yep, Giant's out in front.
Yeah.
Wow. Look out.
Oh, and the second place drone clips the gate and ends up out. I believe that's Metalhead from Sandusky. We've got 3 Sandusky racers, and Giant is out there and running as always. He's got 64 seconds to beat if he wants to be the top-seeded racer in this round. Skyfall with a really good run last race. Yeah, once you see some of the Sandusky racers, though, and they're able to navigate this course, it's pretty good here. Oh, and so Giant had a little bit of trouble. That's Carrot out there, setting him right.
Oh, look out. Oh, almost had another collision.
Yeah. Got all kinds of problems, this is going to be probably the best finish because you just don't know what's going to happen. Giant's on the ground. and I believe that might be Metalhead from Sandusky. It's hard to tell right now. You got 3 Sandusky pilots, and he has to hit through the gate. This is just mass chaos.
It is.
Matt, I mean, it's.
Oh, wow.
You've got drones.
They are everywhere.
Right. You've just got drones on the ground, drones in the air.
All right,
So
Legend
FPV is our winner. We'll have to see his time when we come back, but a fantastic finish. You had drones on the carpet. You had drones hitting spotters, pieces flying off of the drones. It's a lot of crazy action, and it's still going on. They're trying to finish this race up. We'll step aside, take a break. More drone racing action yet to come right here on BCSN.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You could touch a bad dog banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Stand in the Hall of Fame.
So this is our final elimination race before our final. So we are waiting to get some finalists out of here, out of this round. So from the last race, there was some controversy, but Metalhead from Sandusky is our winner. This race, Lightning Fast from Perkins, Green Giant from Clay, Pilot 1 from Ehovie, and the Try Hard. And I believe that is Pilot 1 from Ehovie, Scorching out of the box as well as Try Hard. Lightning Fast in the mix as well.
Wow, this is some good
racing.
It's
a very good race.
Oh, this is excellent.
2 drones hit the flag, and that may have been a mistake there. So that might be Lightning Fast from Perkins, shot out of the box. Let's see. Try Hard. Try Hard is in the lead. All right, so Try Hard from Ehovie. He is making his way around this course, and he knocks into the flag.
Look out, where's the spotter at?
Yep, there you go. There's your spotter from Ehovie running out there as he loses the lead. So this could be another close finish, and you better hope that they can get that drone back together before you lose too many places. So Tryhard still has his lead right now because he built up such a big lead, Matt, but he could lose it.
I think
they can't get the drone going.
Propeller.
All right, our new leader is working their way around through gate number 4 through the uprights, looking for.
So I believe that is Lightning Fast from Perkins.
Lightning Fast.
Yep. So Lightning Fast ends up winning it as Tryhard they couldn't get that drone back together, and it falls apart at the end. So Lightning Fast from Perkins is your winner out of this round, as everybody else looking to finish their race. So you're looking for the wild card finisher too, because you have the 3 winners from these elimination races. Nice move, by the way. That spotter, pretty energetic. So you're looking for the 3 winners and the wild card as well, as we finish up this last elimination race before we head to the final. So let's take a second look at the winner, Lightning Fast, as we step aside and take a break. Tell you what, Perkins, they know what they're doing out here. Plenty more racing yet to come right here on BCSN.
We're going to see who's in the championship here shortly. Nice job, pilots. Let's give our pilots a hand. That is some high pressure, some high stakes racing. They came out, they showed up. We saw some pretty aggressive flying and some pretty aggressive crashing as well. Sometimes it's go big or go home, and these guys definitely came out big today.
And here we go. It's the final elimination race of the day as far as the individual title goes. You've got Skyfall from Perkins, Ian Hempel. You got Metalhead from Sandusky. That's Matthew Valeba. Lightning Fast from Perkins. They were the winners of their respective races. And Giant, who posted the fastest non-winning time of the day, he's your wild card. So Tyler Downing at 64 seconds works his way into the final. This one should be exciting, Matt.
This should be a fun one. Here we go.
And there is Skyfall in Giant. Oh, and Skyfall hits the gate. It's too close to call right now. Oh, and another one hits the gate. And see who the leader is, because we had 3 drones hit the gate. So that is lightning. So that is lightning fast from Perkins. Now just cruising through those gates.
Flying. Unless he hits something, he's going to be our winner.
Let's hope he avoids the airstream and the gates, because those other 3 drones hit those gates right off the start. And lightning fast now. He is lightning fast.
He is.
To coin a cliche. He is motoring right now. If all he has to do is just keep it pointed in the right direction, he's going to have your individual title today. Of course, they're also giving trophies away for best overall team performance. Oh, beautiful the way he just hit that gate. Lightning fast, bearing his name out, and lightning fast, a.k.a. Brian Zapodka, wins the race and the individual title at Kalahari in 2018.
I tell you what, I wouldn't have called that today. So absolutely amazing for him. Great job.
I think the odds-on favorite might have been Skyfall or Giant, but all those 3 other drones ended up hitting those gates, and guess who takes advantage of that?
Exactly.
There is the view as our drone race finishes up. Lightning fast, congratulations to Brian Zapodka from Perkins. Perkins once again showing they are one of the better programs here. We are going to step aside and take a break. We've got more to come here at Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. So this is the final event of the day. It's our final relay race, where basically the 2 teams, Sandusky and Clay, have to put everything together, rebuild their drone, and fly it and win. CJ Perry alongside Lonnie Rivera to finish up our day. And Lonnie, fantastic final race, though that individual race was also very good. Lightning fast from Perkins just absolutely set the world on fire.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to some of the coaches, and they just said, you know, it's just like any other athletic event. You never know. You think things are going to go a certain way based on the previous team standings and scores and times, and it kind of was a little different at the end.
That's a fantastic point you just made as we got our final relay here. Sandusky, I think they might have the advantage, because I don't think Clay was able to really get off the gate very well. There's Lucius Doggett, Mr. Inferno, working on his drone as they fly back and forth. And this is interesting. This was something that we saw earlier.
Yeah, this actually, tests the abilities of the pit crew, which are, again, just like in the auto racing, they're kind of the unsung heroes behind the scenes, able to take apart the equipment and then actually have to put it on a brand new airframe. So it's pretty intense, and the kids are really heating this up.
Couldn't have said better myself. You make some very good points. Sandusky, and that's why they're one of the better programs here. They're able to break things down very quickly. They're able to get things going again, and they're able to, like you said, kind of a well-oiled machine. So that is a very, very good point.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. So Look like Clay is still struggling right now. I don't know what their technical issue is, but Sandusky just continues. They're able to break down their drone quickly. And Clay, as we take a drone's eye view from the Clay drone looking up, we're just trying to figure it out. I mean, I think that's the, just trying to figure, that's, you see Frank Costello from safety third. He's checking things out too. Also thanking safety third, the work that they've put in here. And that's what it's about too, is even you can see that Clay is struggling putting their drone back together. And Frank goes over there, tries to help him out. Will Nickley's been here all day. Wes Johnson is our race director. Chris Kling helping out too. So this is, it's great to see. If the kids are struggling right now, you get the adults to kind of work on things. And, also want to thank E-Hovey, want to thank North Point too, Buckeye Broadband, Buckeye FPV for stopping in. So these things don't exactly happen without a lot of work from the adults. And Sandusky, they're just cranking away. So they're just kind of cranking away here. So this may look anticlimactic, Lonnie, but it does. They are working on the drones and they are trying to fly in kind of a relay race.
And the biggest part of why we're doing this, the kids are having a great time. They're having fun. And while it may seem mundane, this is again part of the whole process. Mm-hmm. And we're just happy that this season went as well as it did. We again are doing something that's never been done before. So there's going to be lots of imperfections and lots of critiquing. And next week we're going to get back to the drawing board and make sure that things that need to be changed to make it more fast-paced or run a little more efficiently, we're going to do that. Yeah. So we want to make sure that this is around hopefully for the foreseeable future.
And hopefully, almost you want to see all teams bring as many kids as Sandusky. They bring one of the larger teams here. Clay, I know, they're starting out, just kind of getting their feet wet. You see some of the other smaller teams. So yeah, at some point you want to see every team with 10, 12 kids playing and doing different roles. Because when I stopped down in the pits this morning, it was, okay, who's a pilot? Well, I'm going to fly here, and then this kid gets a chance, and this kid gets a chance, and you kind of figure out where you fit into the team structure. There's a look at Frank Costello kind of checking out the drone for Clay. And Sandusky also working hard. And that's something, too. And this is very cool, the fact that we're able to take the camera angle from the drone, pump it through our equipment, and then, you've been seeing these drone's eye view, these shots all day long.
Another thing that we've learned along the process is that we are so at the tip of the cutting edge of this process that there is a 2-week turnaround time because we're ordering these items directly from China, and it takes 2 weeks to turn around to get it. And the local hobby stores, they don't have the bulk that we need at this point. So we're just we're finding things that we need to remediate here real soon if we're going to continue to do this.
There you see Sandusky furiously working on their drone. And that's part of it, is breaking it down, fixing it, because that happens in the races too. You need those spotters. You need that technical ability. I tell you what, let's step away just briefly here while they're working on their drones. When we come back, we'll have the finish to this team relay event. You've been watching OHSDA drone racing right here on BCSN. And we are back, and it looks like Sandusky almost ready to go. You see lights on the drone, trying to fire up the propellers on the copter. CJ Perry alongside Lonnie Rivera as we close out our day here at Kalahari. Been a fantastic season, not just a fantastic day of racing, Lonnie, and these kids. Then this is a team building exercise that they all go through, because this always happens during the races. You know, you have to rebuild things. You have to rebuild things quickly. So you put them under this kind of pressure, and you kind of see what your team is made of at this point.
Yeah, and beyond just the students, the staff members that are working with the kids, we had to make several calls and do some visits to help encourage them as well, because the perception is, hey, we got these drones in our hands, we're just going to fly them and it's fun, and that's only a part of it.
That's probably farthest from the truth, because we've seen the work days too, like when we were at Huron High School and they had the 3D printers and they had the solder gun, and you know, kids who weren't even flying were helping out and kind of learning that aspect here. So you see, that's the drone's eye view of Sandusky, and I think they're almost ready. Clay, they had to go back to their pits. They're struggling. I don't know if it's the controller or the drone. And actually, one of the kids from Sandusky went over to help them out in a really good show of sportsmanship. And it looks like I thought they were almost ready to go here. So we're going to step aside, take a break again. When we come back, more drone racing action right here from Kalahari Park.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
And there's Sandusky getting their drone together, and they are able to fly it to the next point. And they are going to be winning the last relay race of the day. So they were able to tear the drone apart, fly it to another point, come back. And we have got the trophy presentation coming up next. So we will step aside, take a break. We'll get the trophies all together. You are watching OHSDA drone racing action right here on BCSN. And we are back here at Kalahari Convention Center and Resort. It's the OHSDA Drone Racing Championship Day here. There's a good shot of Will Nickley, Safety Third Racing Director, who's been helping us out all season long. CJ Perry alongside Matt Earhart. And Matt, right now, it's the trophy presentation, so it's been a long season, a very rewarding one. Kids have learned a lot of things, and right now, they're giving away trophies for the kids who have won previous races.
Yes,
so
they
Giant,
are.
a.k.a. Tyler Downing, won a race. Skyfall, of course, Ian Hempel. Meme King's son. Try Hard from E. Hovey, all winning races. So you can see these kids coming up there. Lonnie Rivera from North Point acting as the Vanna White, handing out the trophies.
Yes.
So that's
He's doing a great job.
So that's good to see that these kids kind of get their due here for winning races throughout the season.
Yep.
And I believe that is Try Hard from E. Hovey.
Yep.
Get his actual name. That's the thing, all these kids go by their handles, their pilot handles, so you start to learn those.
Yeah, his name's Caden Vargas.
Caden Vargas, all right.
Yep.
He had a good season, good
He
day.
did. A great pilot. So he's only a sophomore, too, so he's got a couple
plenty
more
of
years left.
Plenty of time to go.
Yeah, I tell you, I cannot wait for next season. I mean, these kids are going to have all fall, and depending on when we run the season, they could potentially have all winter to practice. I mean, I think we're going to see some amazing times, and these pilots are just going to get better every day.
So here's the Sportsmanship Award. And I think that is Andrew Gerald from Sandusky accepting.
Yep.
So good to see. And there's been a lot, and that's the thing. Sportsmanship
Absolutely.
has been so key today. A lot of these kids will help out other teams, lend
they
them
do.
tools, will help them build drones, the whole 9 yards.
So, yeah, St. Mary's came up to me and said, hey, listen, Andrew has gone way above and beyond today, helping us out and mentoring my kids and fixing stuff for us. So, yeah, he's done a great job.
There's Ian Hempel from Perkins, another great pilot and a great kid to get to know and talk to. So I like this. So we just got the word. So the overall sportsmanship award goes to Sandusky for the season, I believe. Yep. So congratulations to them. I think so. Not only are they good champions and pilots, there's Brad Agee, Sandusky's coach, accepting it for them. I think they get the spirit of it. They get the spirit of it.
Oh, absolutely. Brad has stepped up and helped us immensely. You know, the gates that you see out here, they put together, and flags and different things. He has gone and driven to Huron and St. Mary's and dropped off equipment to help run races. So, yeah, definitely have gone above and beyond.
Yeah, great to see that. And like he said, their district, they've got a bigger district, and they've got the funds and they've got the program in place. And so that's one thing Brad said to me is, you know, they've got the resources, so they don't mind helping out other schools and going to other places. And
exactly.
So that's great to see. So the next award coming up is the team relay. And we saw a little bit of that with Sandusky and Clay. Coming in third place was Sandusky on the day. Second place was St. Mary's, and first goes to Perkins.
Yes.
So Perkins, another strong team, and able to put that drone together and get it flying again. And I tell you what, that's an exercise. I mean, you got to break down the drone, you got to get it going again, you got to fly it back. So it's. Right. I think that's a good exercise for the kids to learn in that pressure situation.
Oh, it's the process, man. I mean, being able to go through that and under a pressure situation and do that. I mean, this is what it's all about.
No doubt. There's St. Mary's accepting their award for their part in the relay, finishing second. And they're a younger team, and it's good to see them kind of getting in the spirit of the drone race.
All middle schoolers.
Right.
I think the middle school teams today was Edison, St. Mary's, and
I think Huron brought
Huron. Yep,
schoolers.
those were the middle school teams.
And there's Perkins accepting their award for first place as far as the team relay goes. Next award comes up is the fastest 3 laps cumulative today. And this was a fight, my friend.
Oh,
because you had Ehovey at 284 seconds, Sandusky at 283, Perkins at 276.
Wow.
So 7 seconds separating your top teams, and less than 10 here separating 3 to 1.
Yes.
So that shows you kind of how close things are getting.
Outstanding.
And these are the teams that I think exhibited over the course of the season why they are the best. Ehovey I think Ehovey might be most improved in my book. I mean,
I would agree with that.
Perkins and Sandusky out of the gate were really good, and I think Ehovey certainly.
Yeah. And I tell you what, for middle schoolers, St. Mary's has done an outstanding job.
They have. Indeed. So good to see the teams getting recognition as well. Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, middle schoolers.
Yeah,
you know, so
absolutely.
12 years old, 13 years old, they're hanging with the high school kids. They get that influence. They get to race them. That's really cool. I'm kind of glad that that's the mix of this racing league. And we have the individual winners, Matt.
Yeah.
Giant finishing fourth. I think he kind of rushed the gate a little bit. I think if you asked him, he kind of realized, hey, I kind of rushed that gate during that final race.
I would agree
Metalhead
with that.
from Sandusky, Skyfall, lightning fast. Brian Zapaka from Perkins.
Yes, and he is 59.8, outstanding.
Busting through that minute barrier. That is great. That is great. So all the awards being given out, and so they're getting their cumulative award. Sandusky with 283 seconds. So I jumped the gun a little bit. So they're still doing the team awards.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I just want to thank you too. Ehovey doing a great job putting this together. Lonnie Rivera from North Point Educational Services. Jeff Abbas, of course, Buckeye Broadband. Everyone kind of getting together and making this work.
Right.
And you know, and we know from the inside, it's, you know, to put together not only an event like this, but a season like this, especially if you're the pilot program.
Right. It's been a process, and but it's been a great process.
Yeah.
And so this sport, what we're doing, is going to explode. We have had unbelievable interest. The last time I spoke with Will and Lonnie, we've had over 150 school districts contact us about getting involved with this next year.
And you're writing curriculum because you want standardization too. So you want these things to be taught in these schools, these aviation programs. So there's a lot that goes into that.
Well, absolutely, yeah. STEM is just becoming more and more prevalent within our districts, and that style of learning. And so schools are now adopting that, and you're going to see this type of learning grow year by year.
I think, too, because if you want to compete, I think you have to get them engaged early, because by the time they're 18, 19, I don't want to say it's too late, but boy, if you get them when they're 11, 12 years old, maybe even younger, I think you really get that. So there's Tyler Downing, a.k.a. Giant, accepting his 4th place award. Giant, definitely one of the better pilots here, drone racing, and a great kid. I mean, I talked to him a few times, and Tyler's really got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah, very passionate.
Exactly, very passionate indeed. There is your 3rd placer. That's Metalhead from Sandusky. You got Skyfall FPV in 2nd spot. That is Ian Hempel from Perkins.
Yep. And I thought he was going to win this, and got out of the gate a little too fast. And
he probably was the odds-on favorite, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's Brian Sapatka, though. He's going to accept for Perkins 59.8 seconds.
Great job, Brian. I tell you what, he and Ian practice out at their homes, and so you can obviously tell those two, 1st and 2nd here, did a great job, and their time and effort is, very much valued.
All right, so congratulations to all the kids, and I think we're going to hear the final overall team. So there you go. So Perkins gets the overall award here, or he gets the overall fastest, I should say. Brian Sapatka. See, Will Nickley. He's done a great job too. Boy, driving up from Columbus. Will has just put in a lot of time, really helping the kids, sending out the email updates for everybody. I think. He's definitely an unsung hero as far as this drone racing.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. Hey, one team that we didn't really talk a whole lot about is Oregon Clay. And, Oregon drove up here from Toledo today and participated, and they gave a valiant effort, man. They did a really nice job. And, they came to the Yehovah event, and from that Yehovah event till today, their pilots have done a great job.
Yeah, and they really stuck to it with the end. I mean, they went up against Sandusky, probably a more experienced team as far as that goes. So, hats off to Clay for coming out here and sticking it out, like you said. All right, so we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to wrap this all up. You've been watching the trophy presentation. You've been watching OHSDA drone racing right here from Kalahari. Don't go anywhere. More to come. And we are back one final time at Kalahari Resorts. There are your big winners of the day. You got Tyler Downing, Metalhead, Matthew Valeba, and there is the man of the hour, Brian Zapadka, finishing first in the individual race today, 59.8 seconds, a fantastic finish, and that is why he is our Pat O'Brien Chevrolet Player of the Game. You see just how smooth he hit every gate. The first 3 racers crashed the gate, and they pretty much themselves out of the race. But in the end, Brian Zapadka absolutely owned the day. 59.8 seconds. Everybody else could not break 60. So Zapadka earning his stripes with Perkins. And Perkins, of course, showing also why as a team, they're one of the best teams in this drone racing. And Sandusky also having a great season. Great to see everybody come out here, support these kids, support these teams as we kind of finish off this inaugural season of drone racing. So glad that you've been along. Want to thank E. Hovey, Safety Third Racing, and Will Nickley. You got North Point Educational Services as well, and Lonnie Rivera, Matt Earhart, hopping on the microphone. So glad that he's here. Buckeye FPV. Want to thank you, the viewer, for hanging out. Of course, Dewey Furniture and Carpet for bringing you BCSN sports all season long. That's going to do it for me. For the hardworking crew, I'm CJ Perry. Have a great day, everybody.
We'll just explain it briefly right now. There's a flying component. 3 different pilots are going to be needed for the relay, and there's also a pit crew component. You guys are going to be required to swap out propellers at one point during the relay, and then you're going to actually have to swap everything on your quadcopter to a new frame as a part of this relay as well. We have those frames. They're unique colors, so we can tell if you actually swapped your quadcopter's guts to a new frame. And we're looking for the 3 fastest schools to complete that relay. So that's going to rely on everyone on your team to work together to actually make that happen. So that's the last event of the day. So those are the traditional competitive awards we'll be giving out today.
Please retrieve your quad and walk away from the gate. What happens is that you sit at batteries and they're not going to be a big issue. If at any time your battery becomes defective, you see smoke or anything like that, I won't
together, as they say in business. The key is if you can put together 3 good laps, get the time trials, of course, are picking up on the course. I think this is a different course design than what they've been used to here, so you see a little bit better action.
Eddie Hovey, the Mavericks first robotics team, took an interest in